What's happening, vinyl community? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are when you're watching this. It's been a little bit since my last update video, so I wanted to give you a peek into what I've acquired over the last month to month and a half. And at the end of this video, I've got a little bit of a change of pace for you. What is concerning is, in short, in the world we're living in right now with COVID, a lot of things have changed. In particular, buying and selling, and in the case of record collecting and music collecting, a lot of us that don't have access to stores have flocked to places like eBay and Discogs, which is a great avenue for that kind of thing. But with that world of sellers, eventually you do run into some that just don't mesh with you for one reason or another. And it's just me saying, sharing my experience with you, leaving certain things out, but just saying, hey, if you have an experience like this, don't let it dissuade you. Places like eBay and Discogs are great avenues, if nothing else, just for window shopping. But anyway, we'll get to that. The first thing I want to show you guys is, if you follow Dylan at Noble Records, he just hit his 2-year anniversary last week or so. And Dylan, if you're watching this video, congratulations, buddy. That's a hell of an accomplishment, especially in this day and age. It says a lot about Dylan and Noble Records as a whole, when not only was he able to survive, but he was able to thrive. And it says a lot about Dylan, Noble Records, the community at large, his customers, and the attitude he presents to the community, that he was able to succeed and was able to have his anniversary when a lot of places can't say that. In fact, it's the exact opposite. But I was not able to make it to the event because I live on the other side of the country. But something that Dylan did, which I thought was really cool, was he had some shirts made for the event, which was redoing an old design and having it made as a limited edition event shirt. I had a friend that went to the event, and he said, I asked him if he would look out for the shirt, an XL of the shirt for me, and they sold out real fast. They were really, really popular, which is no surprise. But Dylan also made them available online later that day. They were only available for a week, and once I got the announcement, I got on there and got my shirt. And it arrived the other day. And it's going to be a great addition to my t-shirt collection. So again, Dylan, thank you for making these available to us. Awesome design, man. I have to say that openly. As a graphic designer in my spare time, that's an awesome design. I'm glad you brought this back. And also, thank you for making it a softer fabric. I will always appreciate somebody that will do a t-shirt in a softer fabric, especially, with the way the weather is constantly changing. So again, thank you for doing that for us. Thank you for making those available. It's going to be a great addition to my collection. Now to get onto the vinyl. The first one I'm going to show you is actually a lesser known album, but it's a smoker nonetheless. This is Duke Jordan, Flight to Denmark on Inner City Records. This is a second mono pressing. First pressings are pretty dang hard to come by, especially in good shape. They generally set you back about 75 to 150 bucks. But this one is a beautiful, beautiful copy. Found this one on eBay, and long story short, they had the auction going, and because of my job, I'd overslept and checked it and found out it didn't sell, but the auction had ended. So I reached out to him and said, would you consider selling this to me one-on-one? He ended up putting it back up for sale as a buy it now, and I picked it up a few minutes later and was really, really happy to get this one. It's piano jazz, and it's a little bit softer, so it's not hard bought by any means, but it is a great album nonetheless. And it's got a cool little bit of history for the album, because the original owner actually had some little notes on the back saying that it was only played once. If you can find this one on the cheap, definitely pick it up. Reissue regardless, pick it up. It's a great album, and it's been reissued a couple times, but I wanted as close to a second as I could, or an original as I could, excuse me. So this second was the best one I could find with the condition and everything else, so again, I was happy to get it. Continuing with the soft soft jazz train, if you will. It's Claire Fisher, surging ahead on Pacific Jazz. This is a first mono pressing. Again, really, really clean. Got this one from a seller up north. Was actually a little scared that it got lost in the mail because the tracking stopped on it for a while, and we were in the process of talking about doing a refund when it just magically showed up, and thankfully it was in good shape. It's got a little bit of lamination deterioration on the cover, but the vinyl's in solid shape. So this is another one that's again softer piano jazz with a little bit of hard bop mixed in. If you could find this one on the cheap, generally with a lot of Pacific Jazz releases you can, definitely pick this one up. Next one is another online purchase. This is Dizzy Gillespie, Half Trumpet Will Excite on Verve. I don't know what pressing this is. It's a deep groove, so I'm assuming it's fairly early. Really nice shape. It's got a few hairlines, but it's a really loud album and plays really nicely. I got this one at a smoking deal, and I think guys like Dizzy Gillespie, Duke Ellington, etc., I think they get overlooked now because a lot of collectors focus on like Blue Note, Impulse, Prestige, etc. There's so much heat on these other labels. Verve in particular has got some great stuff on it. So I was able to get this one at a really good price, and it's one of my favorite Dizzy albums, so I was glad to get it. This next one actually I found at a local shop about a week ago, and it's kind of surprising because A, it had been there a little while, and B, the owner's a bit of a jazz head too, so it seems like a lot of jazz stuff doesn't make it out to the floor. But so I was happy to find this. So it's Ornette at 12, Ornette Coleman. It's the first stereo pressing. Solid VG Plus condition. Really nice plain copy. Really loud, of course, being that's Impulse. Obviously, gotta show that gatefold. Apart from a pinhole here and a little bit of yellowing around the edge, really nice presentable copy. Plays really well, and I've actually grown to really like this part of Ornette Coleman's discography. I'm not a huge free jazz guy, but I've learned to really, really appreciate this part of his catalog. And a lot of these albums from around this time tend to be more recorded live than anything else. So it adds a whole new dynamic to the album, etc. So again, was really, really happy to get this. Got it at a great price. One thing about these gatefold jacks, they're sometimes a pain in the butt to get back in there. There we go. But again, great album. Another one to keep an eye out for if you see it. Got to change some things around here. There we go. The next one is one I picked up for cheap. Condition wasn't what I was hoping, but it'll still be a good placeholder until I find another copy. This is Impulse A9129, Oliver Nelson Sound Pieces. It's a white label promo. Plays reasonably well. It's got some hairlines, and it's got a pressing bubble that, while it doesn't skip, it does make a tick through that area. But I got this at a great price. This is one of those albums that I knew of Oliver Nelson, but I have never heard the album. And Oliver tends to be a little bit more on the big band side of things. I think his best album is Blues in the Abstract Truth, but this is not a sleeper by any means. It's a great album, great dynamic sound, and definitely one of those that I would pick up if you have an opportunity. Okay guys, now we're getting into Grail territory. This next one is actually a part of a trade that I made with Slolo Vinyl in New Mexico. I let one of my Grails go because I found two albums that were theirs that I really wanted. This was the first one. This is Milt Jackson, Blue Note 1509. This is a mono pressing. Not a first pressing, early '60s pressing, but really clean. Features John Lewis, Percy Heath, Kenny Clark, and Lou Donaldson, and the Thelonious Monk Quartet. Milt Jackson's one of those guys that I think gets slept on a little bit just because it tends to be softer, but this is a great album. This is definitely no sleeper by any means, and even though it's not a first pressing, I was definitely happy to get it specifically for the condition. This is one of the cleanest Blue Notes that I own. This next one is kind of the one I've been searching for quite a while. I missed out on it a couple different times, so when I was able to get it on eBay a few weeks back, I was really happy. This is Lee Morgan Cornbread. This is a second stereo pressing, super clean. So this was one of those releases that was done during the transition from Blue Note being their own separate entity to being owned by Liberty Records. So this would be a second pressing. Features Jackie McLean, Hank Mobley, Herbie Hancock, Larry Ridley, and Billy Higgins. Solid lineup as always with these Blue Note releases. What I love about this particular release is that it tends to be more, it has some outside influence, a little bit of blues and stuff like that, and it's a loud album, like a lot of the Van Gelder mastered albums. And I'm hoping at some point I can find an original first pressing, but if I can never find one, this will definitely fit the bill because the condition on this thing is beautiful. The jacket's got, I'd say it's about a VG+, but the vinyl itself is excellent. Plays really nicely. And this is one I'm very happy to add to the collection. The next one is the other one that I actually secured as part of the trade with Slow Low Vinyl. About a month ago, I actually lucked into a 70s era pressing of this and loved it so much that I wanted to search out an original. So when I stumbled on one through their Discogs, I reached out to them. And this is my 70s pressing. This is the new music of Ornette Coleman, Tomorrow is the Question. So the 70s era pressing, like I said. Features Ornette Coleman on alto sax, Don Cherry on trumpet, Percy Heath or Red Mitchell on bass, and Shelly Manne on drums. It's a beautiful 70s pressing. It's a beautiful copy, but I want an original. So if you wait, you get lucky. Here's my original. This one just came last week. It's an original mono deep groove. Pretty dang clean. I'd say solid VG plus condition. Jacket's got a little bit of age to it, but the vinyl plays really cleanly. This is definitely a must-have for any jazz collector, whether new or old, if you don't know about this album. It's solid hard bop. It's an absolute jazz classic, and definitely find it, whether it be an reissue or an original. And a mutual friend of mine, Josh at I think it's Take Me the Birch on Instagram. You'll see him sometimes in Chris Tunes from the Man Cave's videos. We've been talking, and buddy, this 70s press, as I'm sure you know, is going to you here soon because I got my original. So again, hope you enjoy it, buddy. It's an absolute smoker of an album. This next one was an attempt at an upgrade. Unfortunately, it didn't fit the bill. So, as I've shown you guys this one in multiple videos, this is my original copy of Horace Silver Song for My Father. Blue Note 84185. It's my original stereo pressing. I've owned this thing for many years. It's a VG Plus copy. I wanted to upgrade this album because it's one of my absolute favorites, and I thought I had an opportunity a few weeks back. And it's solid as a solid VG Plus copy. And in some ways it is, in some ways it isn't. So this one's staying with me, but this was the attempted upgrade. Excuse me. The cover is a bit cleaner on the front, but it's got a little bit more edge wear. And the vinyl's got a few more hairlines than I'd like. It still plays VG Plus, but the albums, I did a comparison on my Instagram, and these two are about even with each other. So I'm keeping my original, and this one is actually going to a good friend of mine as a surprise. So I'm not going to spoil it, but I know he will be very excited when he gets this. The final one is actually a huge grail for me. I've been trying to focus on one grail at a time, and if I can't get them, I move on to the next one. This one was one that I found on eBay and I'd been watching for a while, but it hadn't sold. So they were taking offers on it, and I reached out to them and came to an agreement, and it arrived 2 days ago. This is Archie Shepp, The Magic of Juju. Get that glare out of there. That's better. It's an original stereo pressing. Super, super clean. Played it the other day. This thing doesn't have a tick, a pop, a crackle, anything. Super, super clean. Front cover, back cover, spine. Inner, super, super clean. The only problem it's got is it's got a little bit of lamination, a little bit of a lamination bubble, but no seam problems, no splits, no tears, no nothing. This one is definitely on the free jazz side, but what I love about it is that, well, apart from the cover, is that it's very tribal, like in the sound, and it really shows Mr. Shepp in his element as far as being the sax man that he was. So I definitely wanted this one, and my patience paid off, and I've got basically a near mint copy at a great price. So again, very, very happy with this one. Now I can move on to the next grail. So that's it for the recent acquisitions. To close out this video, I've got a bit of a story for you guys. About a week ago, I was browsing eBay, and there's a seller that I had done multiple transactions with and never had a problem. I felt his condition grading at times was a little bit generous, but we've never had a problem. And he had an album that I was really after. It was listed as VG Plus copy with a little bit of bottom seam wear. Perfectly fine. Bid, won, got the album. To say that I was disappointed was a bit of an understatement. The album had tape on the bottom of the album, which was not disclosed. It had a split, and it also had black mold. Now, that to me was a disqualifier, because looking at it up close, underneath the tape, you could tell there was water damage. So there was water damage, and they taped it, and the mold was allowed to grow. I can't put that album anywhere close to my other albums, because as I'm sure you know, mold grows, and in the right environment can spread to other things. Reached out to the seller, sent pictures, and explained, I can't accept this album, I'm sorry, but I just can't accept it. I got this very, very long letter back saying how in 18 years this person had not ever had a return like this. He felt that it was an abuse of the return policy. He thought I was a new buyer, so he said, out of the goodness of his heart, he would accept the return, but this would be the only transaction we would ever do. I'm like, okay, well, I was not expecting that, but since you want to be an asshole, fine. I still stayed professional, stayed polite, sent him back another email saying, sir, I've done multiple transactions with you over the past 6 months. I'm not a new buyer. I want to keep this album, but I can't under the circumstances. There are too many disqualifiers. And I feel that you're being very, very unprofessional in how you responded to me. He simply sent back, due to the fact that you've listed it as a health condition, I'm not going to say anything more. But I have more Strata East releases that I was gonna list, and I'm sorry you're gonna miss out on them. Good luck with other sellers. Basically, he continued to be an asshole. I got what I wanted. He accepted the return. It arrived today, and within a few days I should get my refund back, according to eBay. But the reason why I want to share this story with you is this is probably the worst seller that I've ever dealt with, as far as experience-wise goes. And after I went back and looked at his feedback, all the negatives that he had, it was all the same thing. He was a jerk about returns. He would always come up with an excuse. He'd try to paint the buyer as the bad guy and he's a good guy. Just real gem of a human being. And I'm not going to disclose his name here, but if you're curious, you can reach out to me through direct message on either this channel or through Instagram at TreeMcGee814, and I will gladly tell you who it is so you can avoid a potential problem. But guys, COVID has changed things a lot for us. You know, everybody's on edge these days. We all have bad moments. It doesn't give you an excuse to be an asshole, especially when somebody is trying to be as nice and professional as possible, gives you pictures, does anything possible to make it clear that there was a problem. He didn't have to respond the way he did, and simply could have said, okay, agree to disagree, return accepted. But no, he chose to make a soapbox statement out of it. That's not needed. And if you ever run into this kind of situation, the best thing I can describe to you is, or best example I can give to you, do what I did. Take detailed pictures, be professional, be courteous. It doesn't matter if the guy's a jerk. All you can do is be polite back because it only helps your case. Generally, as long as you have the evidence available, eBay, PayPal will side with you. So that's something to keep in mind. Again, I've only had one other experience in the entire time I've been on eBay that was even close to this, and it wasn't this bad. So, again, the outcome is the best that could be expected. Unfortunately, he chose to burn that bridge with me. But there's more people out there, and he's not the only guy that sells records, to quote a friend of mine. So, again, just if you ever have an experience like this, just keep your head up, do what you got to do, and move on. Don't let one asshole dissuade you from using eBay to Discogs. It's a great resource, again, for those of us that don't have the ability to shop in person. But again, hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you see, please click like and subscribe. Again, hope you enjoyed what you saw here today. Thank you for sitting down and talking with me, and we'll talk again soon. Have a good one.